why don't you guys start off by introducing yourself to the crowd? Share your name, your age, and how many years you've gone to CCYC.
My name is Jacob. I am 16 years old, and this was my 5th year going to CCYC.
My name is Emery. I'm 14 years old, and this was my 4th year going to CCYC.
My name is Silas Woolard, and this is my, I started in 6th grade, and I'm in 12th. 6 years. 6 years. There we go.
Wow, there you go.
6 years.
Good math skills. Good job. Good job. So CCYC has some very ludicrous things that happened throughout the weekend. Like at one point, there was a whole lightsaber duel on stage. Like there's all sorts of crazy things that go down. So why don't you guys share the funniest thing that you experienced from this past weekend?
Okay, so the convention center that we're at, there's a carpeted floor like this right here everywhere. And my uncle is also there, my dad's brother. And I was in the line getting some merch. And I'm standing there, minding my business, and I just get tackled out of nowhere by my uncle. And he slams me on the ground and then begins to drag me around. And I got the most carpet burn I've ever gotten in my life. And it still hurts on my knees. It's so bad. But I thought that was funny, though, because it was my uncle. And everyone around us was like, what is happening? He's getting jumped. What is happening? But it was just my uncle. And, love him, but it hurt a lot. So, yeah.
My funniest moment was when we were at the mall. Braden Whiters put on a pair of women's sunglasses and started salsa dancing around in the mall. So
One of the most funny moments for me was the 2 MCs that kind of opened sessions of worship, and like the main speaker had a challenge and almost like a game that they would open up with, where they would do these different motions to kind of get you dancing and moving around before the sermons. And it went through this monkey's adventure of having drums, playing drums, breaking the drums, being sad, calling friends, buying new ones. And then out of nowhere, this wasn't planned, someone in a gorilla costume jumps up on stage and starts dancing. Like, it was unplanned. I don't even know why you bring a gorilla suit. But they had it.
Someone did. Someone brought their own gorilla suit.
It worked, and it was fun. It was a good surprise.
I totally thought that it was a part of it. I think most people did, and then afterwards the MCs were like, we don't know who that was. Like, actually, legitimately no idea where they came from. So, yeah, lots of funny things. What was your overall just favorite part of the entire CCYC trip?
I loved hanging out with friends, meeting new people, being in that awesome environment with just so many other like-minded people. But definitely worshiping at those nightly sessions and stuff was just such a surreal moment with so many people. The music was great. The people singing were amazing, and it was just such a good moment to be there worshiping with 1,800 kids around you doing the same thing with the same mindset. So that was really cool.
I agree with Jacob. The worship was definitely my favorite part. It's always like so cool how many kids go up there and just like want to worship God.
Mm-hmm. They always have to give like a little warning, like don't rush the stage, because the moment the music starts, it's like a tsunami of students just running up. They're football players. They're just like tackling people on the way to the stage. It's crazy.
I think my favorite part was hanging out with the dudes in my room, like at the conference and everything. I also learned that Ty Whiters, he loves to get up early, like really, really, really early in the morning. And I had to listen to him get up, and I'm trying to sleep, but then I have to hear this dude just like banging around and doing push-ups on the ground. But yeah, it was just fun getting to hang out with my friends and getting to learn about Jesus.
Of course, of course. So one of the ways that they specifically get to learn various things is through what's called workshops. On Saturday morning, there's like 7 or 8 speakers who come with a specific message for a specific topic, and the students get to pick 2 workshops to go to, the ones that interest them the most out of that list. And so why don't you guys share the workshops that y'all went to and which your favorite one was and why?
All right, so I went to a guy named Cody's workshop and a guy named Scott's workshop. The one that was probably my favorite was Scott's workshop. So he talked about the best ways to invite friends and other people to church that may not be a Christian or may not want to come to church. But I just thought it was good because he gave me some tools to learn how to go out there to like your job or your work or school or something like that and get people to come to church with you. But I think that was my favorite workshop.
I went to a workshop called Social Ministry, and the same one that Silas went to, introducing people to Jesus. And my favorite one was definitely introducing people to Jesus, because I have some non-Christian friends, and I just haven't been able to, introduce them and figured out how to, tell them about him, so.
I went to same as Silas, the Cody from Roshi, who is a musical band. So he was talking about spiritual gifts and using your gifts to bring people closer to God and be able to influence people that way. And Scott's bringing people to Jesus. And I think that one was really helped me get a lot of tools to kind of go back into the world, school and stuff, and bring people closer to Jesus. It was definitely what I needed to hear over that weekend. It was something that I was really hoping to look forward to as I saw that workshop and was looking to get things out of it, and I definitely got what I was looking for from that.
That's good. While they were in their workshops, I was walking down the street to get coffee. But I'm glad that y'all learned those great things. That's wonderful. Every single year, CCYC does have an overall theme. And so the theme this year was Come and See. And it was based off one of the stories in the gospel where the disciples are talking to Jesus, and they're like, hey, Jesus, where are you staying at? And he says, well, come and see. And it's basically this invitation to, hey, come and see what it's like to follow me and to have a relationship with me. So that was the overall theme. That's what all the main messages were about in the big main sessions and services. So what was the biggest takeaway or the most important thing that you learned from that overall theme of come and see?
For me, I think, what was it? I forget his name.
Jason.
Jason, that's his, Justin, that's Jason. He talked about including everyone that you can. No one's excluded from, being able to go to Jesus. And I feel like a thing he came up was a misconception is that if you're imperfect or have problems, you have to fix yourself before you come to Jesus. And he was clearing that up, talking he had known people that were coming to church, and they were like, I'll come to church, but I got to deal with this in my life first, and then I'll be able to fully focus on that. But a misconception is that we don't need to do that. We need to go to Jesus first, and only with that we can fully deal with ourselves, deal with our baggage and burdens and things like that, is taking it through Jesus. So I think that was a big takeaway for me.
My biggest takeaway was something that Jason said. He said, with Jesus, you belong. So even if you don't belong anywhere else, or people say you don't belong, you always belong with him.
Probably, he was talking about how Jesus and you can make circles. You can make circles with your friends. You can make circles with your enemies. You can just have a bunch of different circles around you. And you need to focus on your circle that has Jesus in it. And that circle needs to be big. It needs to bring people in. It doesn't need to be a really small circle with just you and your close friends. It needs to be there so everyone can come in. Because Jesus didn't just hang out with all the perfect people and everything. He went to the tax collectors, the sinners, the haters, everybody like that. He brought them in. And that is what we need to do as Christians, is bring people that are far from Christ into our circles so that we can strengthen their faith and help them become a better Christian. But yeah. That was probably my takeaway.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. If y'all just go ahead and give it up for my students here. Y'all are welcome to return to y'all seats. Thank you. So hopefully, that sort of helped you guys get a little bit of an idea of what all happens at CCYC and how amazing it is, and why we go every single year so that our students can grow. But our children aren't the only ones who are impacted by CCYC. Also, our adults are. So if I could have Philip come onto the stage. And if you want to grab that same mic there. Philip was one of our adult leaders. And so I would just like to give him a few minutes just to share what your experience is like as an adult leader and how much it impacted you being able to go and lead the students.
Yeah, absolutely. It was tiring. But no, it was great. These students here, 28?
Something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of kids. They're great. I love CCYC. I'm Philip, 27. This is my 13th? 14th? I think I counted.
Wow.
My 14th CCYC. As a kid and as an adult, I got to go for years. I got to go from being a kid going to being a sponsor going to being on the playing team to Planet. What's really cool is this year I got to go for the first time in 2 years because I got sick the first time. I got something else. But I got to go and see not only these kids, but I've been in ministry for like 10 years, going through churches from southeastern Virginia to southeast North Carolina. And there's this church that I used to work at in Virginia Beach, Virginia, that brought 50 students. When I was there, we were like averaging like 25, 30, so to double that just was already great. And there's two kids that I really poured into. They're Devin and Natalie. They were like this tall. I met them because they were like 10. Because I'm short. That's okay. But what's crazy is I thought that, okay, Devin and Natalie, they're good. They're doing stuff in their church. No, they were there at this conference. Devin was great because he was like this short when I met him, and then he grew like this tall. And I was like, yes, I'm still taller than a kid. But what's crazy is I ran into Devin in our hotel because he had the room across from our room, and he's now this tall, which is great. It's okay. It's cool. It's fine. But Devin's 19 now, and Devin came to this conference to watch kids like I watched him grow up. And Natalie was this little girl who had this curiosity about singing for God, and I was working with the youth band at the time, and she would come in and sit in our practices, and she'd be like, can I try? And I was like, yes, please try. Please come sing. Like, come worship with us. And she grew as she would come and sing, and she grew into a leadership role. I didn't realize that she grew into my leadership role. I used to run the youth band, and now she is running the youth band and bringing people in. And that youth band grew from 15 to 30. It is ridiculous. The seeds that I have planted through Jesus in these churches is far more than I thought. Like, it's crazy. Walking through the halls, I could hear, Philip, hey, Philip, you're here. Hey, Philip, hey. And this is what I think. I think that was my pocket of heaven right there. Because if I can believe that heaven is going to be like that, where I go walking through the hall of heaven and they go, Philip, you're here. Hey, look at this is what I'm doing with Jesus. This is what I'm doing with my church. This is what I'm doing with my faith. Then I will die happy. So that is what I want to see out of these kids here. 10 years down the line, I want to be going to CCYC when it's like 4,000 people. And I want to hear, Philip, hey, I'm from Venture. Hey, I did this. Cal. Yeah, I know. I'm picking you because you're right there. He's also my nephew. It's fine. Cal, I want to see you do things. Savannah, I want to see you do things. All of you. Ty, stop getting up so early, man. But it is just an honor to go to these conventions, to be able to pour into our youth because they are our future. And they're not our future tomorrow. They're not our future next year. They're our future right now. So thank you for letting me go with your kids. They are fine, I promise. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Philip.